Hello crochet lovers, welcome to our channel. I hope you're doing great. We're getting close to Valentine's Day and of course we had to come up with a tutorial for a heart. So today we'll learn to make this amigurumi heart. And if you're looking for more heart ideas, you'll find a heart tutorial playlist for crochet lovers where you'll find different options to make super cute hearts for decoration and many more ideas for this Valentine's Day. Don't forget to share your pictures on Instagram with the hashtag when crocheting is your passion. Every day I choose one picture for our IG page where you can find pictures from everyone in our crochet community. So let's get to it. If you want the written pattern to follow it throughout the video, you'll find it on our webpage. We can make our heart with whatever yarn we want. The important thing is to use a smaller size hook than our yarn calls for, so that our project is super tight. For this tutorial, I'll be using this yarn for a 4mm hook, so I'll select a smaller hook, a 3mm hook. And we can add any filling we want. I think it would be a great idea to fill it with lavender, just like we did with the previous project. Let's begin our hearts with a magic slip knot. So we set the short part of the yarn over the long part and we make the knot. Remember that you can always find all the basic crochet stitches in the beginner's course. And now we chain 2. 1 and 2 chains. The first one will be our central ring. And in there we'll make 6 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, in the same hole 3, and so on until we have those 6 single crochets. When we have them, we pull from the initial thread to close the hole. For this project, we won't close the rows, we'll grow on a spiral, so I suggest you mark the end or the beginning of each row in order to locate the stitches. Row 2 is made by 6 increases. One increase is 1 and 2 single crochets in the same hole. We finished the first one, so we go to the next stitch and we make 1 and 2 single crochets, and we'll repeat this 6 times. We should have 12 single crochets or top loops by the end of the row. For rows 3 and 4, we'll just be making 1 single crochet in each stitch available. This means that we'll have 12 single crochet stitches for row 3, and then another 12 single crochet stitches for row 4. I've finished rows 3 and 4, and the project should look like this. And once we finish making the 12th single crochet, we'll make 1 slip stitch, and then we'll cut the yarn in order to finish this first piece. We set this aside, and then we repeat the instructions up until row 4, so we can have another piece like this one. For this one, we don't make the slip stitch at the end. Instead, we bring in the first piece to attach them together. They will be the top of our heart. So we'll locate the slip stitch for the first piece, and we'll insert the hook right in there. And after that, we make 1 single crochet. Set the threads to the side, and when we're ready, we make 1 single crochet. This will be the first single crochet of row 5, which is made by 12 single crochets in the first piece, then 12 in the second one, so we'll have 24 single crochets in total for row 5. Don't forget to set the marker. I always set it in the previous stitch, which marks the end of the row 4. We have already done the first stitch from row 5, so we just need to make 23 single crochets to go. When we make the 12th stitch in the first piece, we can skip to the second piece to the stitch we have immediately after. And then we just make those 12 single crochets that correspond to this piece. We have finished making those 24 single crochets, and now we'll continue to make the tip of our heart. Don't worry about that little hole that sometimes appears between the pieces we stitched together. We'll close it later. So we begin with row 6. It's time to begin making the creases. I'll be showing you the sequence for row 6 on screen. So we make 5 single crochets. Keep in mind that the creases will always go in the corners of our heart. I finished those 5 single crochets, and it's time for the first decrease. In order to make the invisible decrease, we'll just work on the front top loop of the stitch. We go just for that front top loop. Then we go to the next stitch and we go straight for that front top loop as well. We should have 3 loops on the hook, so we pull through the first 2 and then the next 2. We have done an invisible decrease for amigurumi. Now, according to the instructions, we should make 10 single crochets. Remember that you can find the written pattern in our website. And it's again time to make another decrease. So we insert the hook in the first front top loop, then in the next front top loop, we pull through 2 loops, and then through another 2 loops. And we should have another decrease ready. At the end, we have to make 5 single crochets, which are the ones available for this row. And that is what we will keep doing for all future rows. We'll just take one of the single crochets between the decreases. You can see the instructions on screen. Check them out for each row. And if you want the whole written pattern, you know where to find it, in the link from the description. It's always the same sequence, super repetitive. We just need to reduce the amount of single crochets. So I don't think you should have any problems with this. So now we begin with row 7, which begins with 4 single crochets. And I will see you in a little bit. Just keep following your pattern, now that I've showed you how to make the decreases. During or after row 9, it's a great time to begin adding filling to our heart. We just need to insert the type of filling we have chosen, and make sure to add it all the way at the very top of the heart. Those 2 ears should be super filled in. You can always add the filling bit by bit while you continue crocheting. This is row 10 for me, which begins with 3 single crochets. After adding the filling, you will notice a slight change in the way you need to crochet, because the heart is puffier, but you can do it. We have to make a decrease now. Remember that we use only the front top loops, and we just keep crocheting according to the instructions for this row. I'm on the last row now, row 14. So we make 2 single crochets, and if by the end it's too complicated to make the invisible decreases, we can always make a normal decrease, which is what I'm doing right now. And we finish row 14 with 2 more single crochets. And 1 final decrease. I'll make mine a standard crochet decrease because it's super hard to make an invisible one now. When we're done with row 14, we'll cut the yarn. Then we remove the hook. And with the yarn needle, we'll go through the top loops for the stitches of the last row. So we go through here, and then through the opposite stitch. Then the next one, and after that we pull from the yarn to close off the tip of the heart. We should now hide the thread inside the filling, so that we can later cut it close to the vase and that it's not visible. The last thing to do is using that same thread with the needle to close the hole that was probably made when we attached the first 2 pieces together. We just need to go through it with the needle a couple times. Make them as discreet as possible. And that's it! We should have finally closed that little gap. We should hide the thread the same way we did before, and our heart is finally ready. You can make this into a keychain or use them to decorate your room or your closet. Just use your imagination. Well, crochet lovers, that's it for today. I hope you liked this tutorial and you already have in your hands this mini amigurumi heart. So I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you're up to date with everything new. I'll see you around on social media. Have a great day, crochet lovers!